Okay, so the power just went out. I got fridges full of food. My family just needs some basic necessities like lights, internet, and I have no idea when the power is coming back on. Now this is going to be a really good test for the budget Pecron F5000 to see how much I can realistically run off this power station. So let's turn it on. And within a couple seconds here, we should have some power. There we go. Well, now that I have the power station turned on, let me walk you through the setup that I have for the F5000. Basically, it's connected up to my 10-circuit transfer switch. You can see that I have all 10 circuits running off the power station. Now, if we take a closer look at the screen, you can see we are pulling about 800 watts right now from those 10 circuits. We are at 97% state of charge, and it is 10:30 in the morning. I do not have solar connected up, so let me walk you through the solar panels I'm going to use for the setup. So right here I have my 1200 watt portable DIY solar array. I built this a few weeks ago and it's been working excellent. If you're interested, I'll include the video down in the video description, but let's go ahead and connect this up to the power station. Now I've just connected up the solar array to one of the charge controllers. Now the F5000 can support up to 6,400 watts of solar, so we're barely touching the solar input on this. You see we're getting about 860 watts, still a little early in the morning, and we do have mixed conditions outside. And if you look at the load here, it's going to be jumping up and down. We are showing a little bit less wattage than before, but my wife is currently running the air fryer, and so as that turns on, you can see that it jumps up. It's cycling on and off, and that's how an air fryer works. Now the Pecron F5000 is obviously one of the most exciting power station launches this year because of the value it offers. That's why I chose to use it for this specific test. Now, just running through the basic specifications, this does have a 7200 watt split phase inverter. It has a 5 kilowatt hour battery, and like I said earlier, it supports 6,400 watts of solar, and all of that for slightly above $2,000. And so you can see why people may be interested in this power station, and that's why I wanted to test it through a real world scenario to see how well it actually works. Up on the screen, you'll see a breakdown of what's connected to that 10-circuit transfer switch. Now, it's super important to make sure you're only connecting critical loads to get the longest runtime possible. For example, you'll see I have my main level refrigerator. I have my basement refrigerator, my garage door opener. I have my internet modem and router. I have my kitchen microwave along with the outlets that are connected to that so I can run an air fryer. And then also my home office and then just a few other basic outlets in the house. Okay, so the F5000 has been running a large portion of my house via the transfer switch for about 3 hours. So let's take a closer look to see what's going on. So if we look at the screen here, it is now 1:39. We started the test at 10:30, so it's been 3 hours. The power station is at 100% state of charge, and that's because we have more power coming in via solar than we have going out to our loads. And so we will stay net positive until our solar production goes down. Now, so far, the solar conditions have been really good. We've actually gotten pretty lucky, but take a look at this. So there's the sun. And if we move over a little bit, you can see we have some big clouds rolling in. We are gonna have some afternoon thunderstorms looking pretty nasty. So we are gonna lose all of our solar charging and we're gonna run off the battery only. Now this is where expansion batteries come into play because we have just the base power station here and it's been at 100% state of charge with excess solar. So technically, if we had an expansion battery on this, we would have been able to dump power into that. And then as the clouds show up, we'd get much longer runtime because you have much more battery capacity that's been charging with solar. So in this video, I just wanted to keep it super basic with a budget power station and one solar array. But remember, this supports a lot more solar input and it supports a lot of expansion batteries. So you can always kind of expand out your system so it works better when the clouds come. Well, the last time I checked in with you guys, it was about 1:30 and the clouds were setting in. I've been really busy doing some other things. It's been 7 hours. It's now 8:30 and the power station battery is getting pretty low. So if we take a closer look at the screen, you can see we are at 5% state of charge and we have about 400 watts going out to the loads. The sun has set, so we no longer have solar charging and it was cloudy anyway. That's why the battery has gotten so low. This morning we connected the F5000 up to my transfer switch at 10:30 and it's been running those loads ever since, and it's a little past 8:30 now. So that is about 10 hours, a little over 10 hours of runtime on the base power station. Now, of course, we did have solar charging it until about 2 o'clock when the clouds set in, and they're pretty thick clouds, so we definitely didn't get much charging input, and that's when the battery started to decline, and now it's about 2 or 3% state of charge. Now at this point, what you'd want to do is you want to either connect up a gas generator to this to charge it up, or you can connect up expansion batteries. So you'd have to make your decision there. Now the national average for a power outage is about 7 to 8 hours, and this power outage test was over 10 hours. So you can see that this model will definitely handle the national average without any problems. Now I do want to let you know that this entire video was a simulation of a power outage. What I did was I shut off my main breaker, and then I had the power station connected into my transfer switch. But as you can see, this power station did an excellent job. Now, when it comes to a power outage, you're going to have multiple options, and basically you're choosing between a power station and solar panels or a gas generator. And what I'd recommend is having a backup to your backups. Now, my preferred option is a power station with solar panels because they are completely silent. You can store them inside your house, so they're much safer. They're less likely to be damaged by the weather. They have no carbon monoxide fumes, and you have an unlimited fuel source as long as the sun is shining. But you can see in today's video that at 2 p.m. we completely lost the sun. So there are some issues, fully relying on just solar panels. So either you're going to have a bunch of expansion batteries, or you're going to have a backup to your backups, and that's where a gas generator comes in. In fact, I have a video where I talk about the benefits of both a gas generator and solar panels in a power station, and my recommendation is you have both because they both have their advantages and disadvantages. Guys, let me know what you think about this video. Also, what power station are you using for your power outages, and what's the longest power outage that you've had this year? Make sure you guys leave a comment down below. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you guys in the next one.